wanted to share with you all a recent experience where I was able to watch my nervous system shifting from safe to unsafe, or more so becoming aware that I was living in a bit of an unregulated state over this time of year, and I actually was able to observe it going into shutdown or dissociation. And I just wanted to share with you what I was able to do in that circumstance to then help my nervous system return back to a place of safety. When our very primal functions are disrupted, so sleep, breathing, food, nutrition, digestion, sex, movement, and presence are disrupted, then we are going to start to tip out of balance. So the past 2 weeks for me have been super fun, but I have not had a lot of sleep. And I've noticed that I've started to go a little bit downhill. I've sort of moved into a little bit of reactivity, a little bit of fight flight, and there's definitely been some old neural pathways of potential judgment or beliefs that are from old stories that, were practiced and repeated many, many times in my past. And I was able to sort of become aware of this and watch these observations and become aware of the dialogue that I was speaking to myself, become aware of things that I was becoming a little bit more reactive over and obviously less responsive. But just observe that because my sleep had been affected, and obviously drinking, which I don't really drink at all, but definitely had a few wines and beers over this time, that my nervous system has started to, shift into a little bit more of a wired state. And that's going to play a huge role on to when we have an experience with another person or in an environment, and how we are either triggered or we can observe ourselves in that situation. So just recently, I had a situation that I felt my body close and I felt small. And that's not because of what someone said or did, it's because I was in an unregulated state and I chose to take that comment on board. I made it personal, which means that my body then went into protection mode, into dissociation or shutdown, and the feelings of, whatever, you're not worthy, or you're small or unheard, or whatever the dialogue is. But what I was able to do in that moment, and this is just from practice that I've done over years on trying to learn about my body's somatic reactions in circumstances, so that I can then pay attention to that to do whatever it is I need to do to feel safe. So when we go into dissociation, it's known as freeze state and numb, right? We actually need to feel to elevate ourselves up out of that state. So we go into this freeze state or dissociation, and then we can go into numbing behaviors, right? So such as scrolling on our phone, drinking alcohol, whether it be smoking, whether it be, online shop, whatever the behavior is that is linked into a dissociated state. However, if we can tune into the body when it becomes dissociated, we can then be like, okay, what is it that I'm unwilling to feel? What was it that triggered inside of me that I actually need to feel or verbalize or talk about or express safely? So in this circumstance recently that just happened, it was about me having a conversation about verbalizing how I felt when my nervous system was unregulated. Again, what other people do or say is none of our business unless we make it personal. And of course, if we are traveling around in a bit of an unregulated state, then it's very, very easy to take what other people say on board and spin it in a different direction. So that's what I was able to do today. I was able to recognize that my body closed and it went into this state, which also looks like it, when I talk on phones as well, it just looks sad. Like it just looks like, oh, I'm not enough or worthy, or whatever the label is in and around that. And that's what I mean. And when we can notice what the body is doing, then I was able to really ask myself the question, well, what do I need to do here to return back to a place where I feel safe in my body and confident, and in alignment and regulated, so that I can be moving back towards my true and authentic self. So having a conversation, going and do some movement, or writing it down and journaling, say, hey, okay, this actually made me feel like this, but I recognize that this story isn't true for me and I don't have to take that on board. So I hope that helps. If we ever find that we are triggered in our environment, remember that it's up to us what we choose to do with that moment. You know, Michael Singer says, it's not the moment that's bothering you. You are choosing to be bothered by the moment. And that's exactly what happened with me today. I was choosing to be bothered by a moment that had nothing to do with me. So it was my job to bring myself back to that regulated state, to express how I felt, right, with honesty and vulnerability, so that I could then feel safe to move forward from that moment on, in my body and with other people as well. These bodies are incredible and they are talking to us all the time. And there is such a difference between understanding a body that is open and then closed, and those two cues are going to have a very, very different knock-on effect onto your autonomic nervous system. A body that feels safe is a body that's able to feel love for themselves and have kind and compassionate self-talk, to believe in themselves and to know that we don't have to take on anything of what any other people say. But if our bodies are in a bit of a closed state or feeling dysregulated, then it's very, very easy for that to then get taken on board, and we close even more because we actually take it personal. And so when we can really tune into this, then I believe that that is our 24/7 tool to let us know where we're sitting in our nervous system, so that we can then do something about it. So that when these moments happen and we have, you know, the conversations or whatever it might be, we can actually still stay in a safe state and understand that it's up to us how we choose to take comments or conversations or whatever it might be, so that we can keep a regulated state in our nervous system and not take it on board, not upset our digestion, our flow of our energy, and of course the self-talk that we speak to ourselves. So I hope that hit home. My next nervous system workshops are coming up very soon, actually. There's a bit happening in this year which I'm very, very excited about. I will be starting off or kicking off 2024 at Yoga Bodyworks. That will be one of my first nervous system reset workshops. And of course this year my intention is to really share out the knowledge of how social media and big tech are playing a huge role in helping us stay in a dysfunctional state. They're closing off our bodies, we're communicating to our bodies that we're not safe when we're hunched over our phone, and therefore we're having all these digestive issues, our bodies aren't healing, and of course we can't change our self-talk from there. So the first one will be at Yoga Bodyworks. I'll then be heading up Lennox Headway before March, before heading to New Zealand over to Cromwell with the Ask team. And then potentially down to the South Coast. So super pumped for this year. There is so much about to unfold. My second book, The Perfection Pandemic, is about a third of the way written already. And looking forward to just really putting some time into that. And just sharing out what we can do to be better humans in our bodies, so that our bodies can then look after us, so we can be better humans to ourselves. So much love, guys. I hope that resonated or hit home, and doing our best today, whatever that is, to tune into this vehicle and how it's traveling and what it's telling you when we have situations unfold in our environment.